Hey guys, this is CFO Mods Gaming coming at you today with another iPhone repair video. Today we are doing the iPhone 4S and we are repairing, or replacing in this case, the battery. You're going to start out with your pentalobe screwdriver and take out the two pentalobe screws on the bottom of the iPhone, located on either sides of the charging port. And here you can see we are using a screw mat. For this repair there will only be 4 screws and one shield, so it's not really too intensive of a repair. You won't really need that, but I do recommend purchasing them if you're getting into iPhone repairs. They are nice for the more in-depth repairs that have 15 plus screws when you're doing something like the screen. Anyway, just finishing up removing both of those screws there, putting those on my screw mat. Okay, and to remove the back of the iPhone 4S, you just slide up after you've removed those screws on the back. It doesn't take a lot of pressure or anything. You're just sliding a couple little clips up, and then you can just lift it right off. And so here I'm showing the tab, and as you can see here, you can pull on that tab, and sometimes the battery won't lift at all, and that's not being held down by the screws that I'll be removing here. It's just that that tab doesn't really separate the adhesive very well sometimes. And so here I'm just removing those screws that are on the cover of the battery connector. The shield and the battery connector are actually built in to one kind of unit. That the flex cable ends with the shield, as you'll see here. So that metal shield is actually part of the battery assembly, and you'll get a new one when you get that new battery. So you will replace that shield, whereas other iPhone models, there will be a shield, and then you'll take off the connector with the battery, and you'll replace the shield. Now, there is something to keep in mind here. There is a small shield connector at the top screw that you can see I'm touching with the plastic separator device right now, and that will come out when you remove the shield and connector, and it will usually come out of the phone. Sometimes it will just jump up a little bit, but you can't take it out before you take off the shield, and so you just need to be careful with that. It can kind of go flying here. And you'll see it does kind of jump up and across onto the table there. And we take the connector off. And as you can see, just getting that shield back. And once you have that flex cable removed from the phone, that is the only connection to the battery, and you can go ahead and remove the battery. You can see here I'm going to use the tab to pull up the battery, and it is not wanting to budge, and as I pull a little bit harder on that tab, you'll see here the tab will actually snap off. And that is something that definitely can happen. It's just a little thin piece of plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. And in other iPhone models, there's actually not that authorized repair service only tab on there at all. There's no removal tab. And so you'll have to use plastic pryers to pull that off. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going around on what would be the left side of the phone's battery, and trying to pull up the adhesive strip that is on that side. There's an adhesive strip that runs down the right side, down the bottom, and then comes back up the left side a little bit. And so I'm just wanting to loosen that up a little bit, since the little plastic tab wasn't budging the battery at all. Got a phone call there, coming back using the thicker or wider pry tool here, and coming in from the other side. Now that I have that loosened up, you can just go about halfway up the phone's battery. There will be a space between the case and the phone, which I will show here a little bit closer. You can place a wide plastic pry tool in there. Never use a screwdriver or anything sharp. You definitely can puncture the battery of the iPhone, and that would be very bad. It will either spray smoke or catch fire if you do that. So only use plastic tools when removing the battery of an iPhone. You see here I put in the plastic spudger there, just to get a little bit of a spacer in there, and then just go ahead and lift up the battery using my hand. Slowly. You always want to work slowly when you're working with these parts, because you never want to flip the phone upside down or anything like that. You just want to be careful when you're working with delicate electronics. You have the phone open, the boards are right there, and you can see here I'm just checking out that adhesive, making sure that it's not going to rip out. Gotta lay that back down where it's supposed to be for the new battery so that it's at the right height out of the case of the phone. Gonna set that old battery aside and go ahead and lay in the new battery. And what I like to do to line up the flex cable is put in the right side of the battery first and make sure the flex cable is secure against the battery and that it's folded up against the battery, and then lay down the left side of the battery. You don't really need to worry about it teasing it in any way to the actual case. It will be held in just fine by the back. If you would like to, you can of course use thin 2mm double-sided tape, but that's completely up to you. I don't in this video, as the previous adhesive is still sticky enough to hold it there just fine, and there's really no need. It's not like it's going to shake around in there. And at this point I'm just replacing that little plastic and metal shield there that goes on the top screw. As you can see here in the video, there is a metal bit on the right side of that shield. And so as I said, that's on the right side of the shield. You do want to put that towards the right of the screw hole. And there is one side that is plastic with that metal bit, and then the other side is all metal. You do want to put it with the plastic side up, or the side that has the majority of plastic up. As I mentioned, there's that little metal bit, but besides that, it's just plastic. And here, I'm just lining up the shield, which is also the flex cable for the battery, on top of the screw holes, and pressing down, you can see it clicks in there. And then we're just going to use our Phillips and grab those two screws. And again, with the screw mat, it does keep everything in order, so, when you have screws that are different sizes, just because these two screws both go on the battery plate doesn't mean they're the same length. A lot of times with iPhones, especially with the screen assemblies, the screws will be different lengths because of the different heights of the assembly connections. So here, as far as that goes, it will just keep your screws in order. So that you have your bottom screw goes in the bottom hole, top screw goes in the top hole, and you can have that all nice and spaced up on your screw mat. And once you have those on, that's it. You just go ahead and put the back of the iPhone on, and that will kind of click in. The sides will actually be flush with the rest of the body, and then you'll just, so you can see here, I just click that in, and then slide up, and it will just slide back up into its original position. And you can see here, I'm just making sure that's completely secure there. Getting rid of that little plastic tab that came off. And we will take our pentalobe screwdriver here and take our pentalobe screws, which again, there are only 2 pentalobe screws in the whole device, but the screw mat does keep everything nice and organized for when you are doing more intensive repairs. Grabbing that other pentalobe screw, lining it up. This is a pretty quick repair as far as this goes. I didn't want to leave anything out though, I didn't want to cut anything out, so this is the kind of the whole repair, but it is, 10-minute job start to finish, and that is not too bad at all for an iPhone repair that would probably cost you $50 plus if you took it to a shop. You can pick up a new battery for under $10. Just cleaning up my workspace here a little bit, putting my tools away, and we will go ahead and charge up the new battery here just to make sure everything is working. But at this point, the repair is done. So not sure if you could see there, but we got the battery charging indicator or symbol. That means that the battery is plugged in and charging, but that it doesn't have enough power to turn on at this point. So we're just going to leave it here for a few seconds. And we'll come back to it now as it is starting to turn on. And it is the iPhone 4S running iOS 8, so it will be pretty slow turning on and running, but that's just how it is. Of course, that has nothing to do with the battery itself. If you have any questions, or if you would like to request any other repair videos, please feel free to leave a comment below. As you can see, I have plenty of iPhones that need various repairs done to them, and so anything that you guys would like me to record and put up here, just let me know, drop me a message, and I will do that. Right now, the phone is just going through that final boot up stage after the Apple logo, and it is turned on, so we're just going to come over and check it out, make sure that everything's running. So screen turns on, digitizer's working, not that we've done any kind of screen repair, but we just want to make sure that the phone's working after we've done any kind of repair. And we do see that it's charging. It's currently at 5% and going up, so that's all. Thanks for watching.